Okay, I'm shifting gears a little bit today. I have a YA book to recommend this week. It is The Astonishing Life of Octavian Nothing. It's a two-volume book, which actually is quite lengthy. Volume 1 is The Pox Party, and Volume 2 is The Kingdom on the Waves. These are historical fiction. Octavian is a slave in Boston. The story starts out just before the Revolutionary War, and something that we don't often think about, that time period in the 1770s, it was also the age of reason. And Octavian's owner, Josiah Gitney, has made Octavian's life a giant experiment. Everything in his life is ordered and measured, and he is taught to read. He reads the classics. He also plays the violin beautifully. But he's still a slave, and his life is far from normal. Very different, even from the other slaves at that time. He believes he's a prince because he's been told stories all his life that his mother was a princess in her African country, and he's treated reasonably well, although he doesn't have his freedom, which of course is always a problem. When the patrons that have been funding these experiments change, and the College of Lucidity is then funded by people from the South, they have a vested interest in making sure that these experiments with Octavian prove that he is inferior, and his world begins to fall apart. Many horrific things happen to him, which I won't go into the details because you need to listen to the book. This book it also reminded me a lot of the saying that the victors write the history. In America, we often view the Revolutionary War as this wonderful event that changed our lives, but in these books, M.T. Anderson reminds us that for the slaves, nothing changed. I didn't realize this, but something that's crucial to the book is that the British had promised freedom to the slaves, and that enticed many slaves to join the British side. Octavian briefly serves with both the Revolutionary and the British Army during the war, and it's fascinating. The language in these books is very authentic, and it's 18th century language, but it's very accessible, and I think it's probably a great way to increase your vocabulary because you know from the context exactly what these words mean, but I heard quite a few new words in the course of listening to these. Now, they are long. The first volume is 7 CDs, and the second volume is 11 CDs, and but it was such a fascinating story. And when I finished the first one, I had to run out and get the second one because I had to know what happened. M.T. Anderson does a fabulous job of leaving us with a cliffhanger that just has you hanging at the edge of your seat, waiting to find out what happens next. And I have to admit, I'm very glad that I found these books a little bit later, and that I could run out and get the second one right away, that I didn't have to wait for the second one to come out. I am going to jump out on a limb here, but I'm pretty sure the first volume won the National Book Award the year it was published, in 2007 probably. So it's really fabulous book, shows things from a very different perspective from what we normally see, and you should check it out.